Hello, 7th grade. Welcome to another fun-filled, fabulous lesson from your favorite health teacher. As always, that's me, Mr. G. Yeah, there you go. So here we are in the month of June, and I still don't see you. But you get to see me, and here we go. Last week, I had given you a sheet of paper, which I thought I would bring here, but I didn't. And on that sheet of paper, there were 33 true-false statements. At this time, if you have not yet done so, there are 2 sheets of paper that it said in the directions to print out. I would suggest pausing and printing those out because as we go forward, you might need them. And you can pause now. If not, we're going to continue going forward to get those sheets. And today, we're going to start out with your next journal. And I wrote down, describe 2 ways people can get HIV/AIDS and 2 myths that people believe on how HIV and AIDS is spread. And I wanted to go over those sheets that you had gotten from last week. And I have all the answers written down, but I'm going to go over them quickly because you never know if you're going to see any of those on a Google test. So why don't we go over them? You can read along if you have the sheets printed out, which would be absolutely amazing. Again, if you didn't do so, I'd pause and get it printed. If not, you're just going to have to do your best and hope for the best. I'm going to read them. You can quickly say your answer in your head, but you were supposed to do this last week. When a person has sex, he or she is exposed to the possible STDs of all the other person's previous sex partners. That answer is true. Yeah, whatever that person has done in the past, that new partner that you are with is going to be exposing you to anything if you are ever in that situation. Number 2, HIV can be passed by sneezing or coughing. That one is going to be false. 3, there's a high risk of HIV infection from being near someone with AIDS. That is false. I'm hoping you know that by now. I want to fly through these because there's 33 of them. You don't want a super long video. Women using birth control pills cannot become infected with an STD. That is false. Those can help people prevent females from getting pregnant, but they're not guaranteed. And that has nothing to do with an STD, as we'll talk about later on. At this time, there's a cure for AIDS. Number 5, that is false as well. Number 6, AIDS is caused by a virus, and that is true. The virus is HIV. Number 7, HIV can be spread through saliva and kissing. That is false. So people can choose to kiss and not worry about catching HIV. From the time a person is infected with HIV, she or he can infect others. That one is true. If a person says that they are not HIV positive, you don't have to worry about catching a virus from them. That is an absolutely false statement. You don't want to listen to what anyone says. Number 10, new medications are keeping people with HIV alive longer. That one is 100% true. Now I want to try and update your answers. So again, you can write them down so you have them. Number 11, you can catch AIDS by donating blood. That is false. You're giving away your blood unless you have it. Then you can't pass it or catch it anyway. Number 12, only people with many sexual partners are likely to be infected with HIV. That statement is false. You can have that magical moment with one partner and all of a sudden, unfortunately, catch an HIV, the HIV, or an STD. 13, a man can't get HIV if he has sexual intercourse with only women. I'm hoping by now you know that is a false statement. 14, blood, semen, and vaginal secretions pass HIV from one person to another, and that is a true statement. 15, a blood test exists that can tell whether or not you will get AIDS. That is false. No, there's no test out there that's going to tell you what the future holds. 16, the HIV virus helps special white blood cells called helper T cells. That is a false statement. Number 17, people who have HIV don't always know they have it. That is true. There are people who have been living with it for months, sometimes even years. They don't even know they have it. 18, every day 3,000 young people are infected with the HIV virus. That is a true statement. Kind of scary right there. 19, the virus that causes AIDS was first discovered in 81 is a true statement. Wink, wink, might be on a Google test. 20, newborn babies can get HIV from their mothers. Once again, that is a true statement. Here are the next 20 answers if you want to double check and see how well you are doing. because this was an assessment as to what you knew. Number 21, condoms are an effective but not a foolproof way to prevent the spread of the AIDS virus. That is true. That's why condoms say 99.9% effective, because if something happens, oops, not their fault. Number 22, everyone who engages in sexual intercourse is at risk for AIDS if an infected partner is involved. That is a true statement. 23, people get HIV because of their sexual orientation. That is a false statement. Those people who believe that was more so about 30, 40 years ago, when people were not as intelligent as you are. 24, if you think you have been exposed to HIV, you should be tested. That is definitely a true statement. You do not want to walk around with a virus and not know that willingly or unwillingly you could pass it on to somebody. 25, men should be more concerned than women about acquiring AIDS. That's a false statement. Equal opportunity for everyone. 26, toilet seats and bathrooms are major carriers of the HIV virus. That is false. That's a ridiculous statement that people used to believe. 27, sharing drug needles is one of the more high-risk methods of becoming HIV infected. That is a true statement. 28, Google test question. Worldwide, 80%, oh no, maybe not. Worldwide, 80% of HIV is transmitted by having unprotected sexual intercourse, vaginal, anal, or oral, with someone who is HIV positive. That is a true statement. 29, you are going to die if you get HIV. No, that's a false statement. 30, a person who has an STD will have obvious symptoms. That is also a false statement. And here are the next 10 answers. And even though you are with me, I'm going to read them and give you the answers anyway. 31, abstinence means choosing not to engage in sexual intercourse. We just went over that a couple weeks ago, so that's true. AIDS is the final stage of HIV infection, during which there is a significant decrease in the disease-fighting cells inside your body. That is a true statement. And 33, you can get HIV from insect bites. And that is a false statement. There's no magical mosquito floating around that's going to bite people and end up giving somebody HIV. So the next thing I would have asked you in class is the following. What are those myths that are out there as to what people believe sometimes, and how can people get HIV? And over the years, usually I give you an opportunity to say whatever. And here's some of the myths that have been out there. People used to be worried about touching or sharing similar objects. People used to be worried about kissing somebody with your mouth open or closed, hugging or shaking hands. People used to have concerns. Breathing the same air as an infected person. Once again, the mosquito or bug bites. Blood transfusions, no. Swimming in the same pool. Attending school or working with someone who has HIV. Sneezing or coughing. Sharing toilet seats, utensils, food, towels, equipment, telephone, computers, etc. All those were myths. People sometimes, and again, we're in 2020, but 40 years ago when this came out, there was a significant fear about how it was transferring and how people thought they could get it. Obviously, in 40 years, we've learned a lot more. Most of you know it. But there are 4 ways that you can get it. The first way I wrote down was unprotected sexual contact with an infected person. Now, let's make sure we're clear. Protected sexual contact with an infected person would also fit there. Like I had said earlier, when people are protecting themselves with whatever means, there's a 99.9% effectiveness rate with most types of contraception. So they are letting the world know if something happens, it's not our fault. So always protect yourselves, but you're at a much higher risk if you are unprotected during any type of sexual contact with a person who has HIV. Let's make sure we're clear. This is always with one person who has HIV. Piercing the skin with or sharing a needle previously used by an infected person. Not too many people share needles when it comes to piercing earrings, or definitely not using it when getting a tattoo, but in the past when people weren't as sterile, they could have happened. But when people are sharing needles and sharing drugs, that is where it predominantly happens a bit more. Number 3 is blood-to-blood contact. We are in a society where if you see somebody bleeding, you don't know if that person has something and you're bleeding. Usually people who are both bleeding don't decide to go next to each other and start touching blood. But if there is that chance, like in some of these sports, like the UFC and boxing, the fighters need to be tested, because if they're both cut, there's a chance, blood-to-blood contact, that it could happen. Very slim, but it is something that could happen. And then that fourth one, sorry, the screen went off for a second. The fourth one that's on here is from infected mother to child. This could be through birth, and it also could occur during breastfeeding. But once again, there's so many medicines out there that the chances of this happening are usually very slim. Usually if a person is pregnant, they're getting lots of tests done, so it doesn't happen. People are well aware of, once they go to the doctor, what they have going on in their body. So the best way for me to try and explain all of this is to give you something special. And that something special is going to be a puppet show. Now in this puppet show, we have a couple different characters, and I realized my characters are at school. So I had to make some adjustments, which you'll see. Most of them are pretty similar. We got our characters in this show are going to be Pinky the Virus. G.I. Joe will be the white blood cells. We have a turtle or two to be our helper T cells. I'm the main actor in this. I'm your host. Then there's going to be bugs. Those will be your B cells. And then there'll be some cowboys that will be the antibodies. Later on, we are going to introduce HIV, which is the monkey, and some infected T cells, which are going to be some Pac-Man. I'm going to shut this down, and I want to adjust and get myself ready. I had to put some colored juggling balls up there so that I can make sure that I see everything. So hopefully you can see. Give me a sec. Here, I'm coming. I'm walking around. Oh, man, I sound old. And I hope I'm on screen right now. So let's explain this process. Every once in a while, you in this world get sick, and obviously we have sick going on in this world, but we're going to stick with some basic sick right now. And those basic sick right now, I want to make sure I can see me. Hold on. I don't want to cut my head off or anything like that. Good. Oh, I hope you see me. So, anyway, we're going to pretend that I came around for the first time. But most of us, once in a while, get sick. Let's go with the common colds. And what ends up happening is a virus gets introduced into your body. So here's our virus. Hi, I'm a virus. And in some way, you might catch the germs of these viruses. I gave you a lesson all about all different ways of people getting sick. So here's our virus. Hi, I'm a virus. And this little virus ends up getting into your body. Now what's going to happen is that we are going to have, I was going to call him G.I. Joe, but I didn't have G.I. Joe, so we're going to go with Captain America if you're not sure.
I'm Captain America.
Now you know. This is a white blood cell, and his main job is to protect the universe, but it's also going to be to check our immune system. On top of this crate here is going to be our immune system. So I'm just going to place Captain America somehow on here. Jam his feet in between the lanes. And Captain America, he looks awkward there, he notices that there is a virus, I'm a virus, inside your body. I'm Captain America. I can't say it again because he has different phrases now. And Captain America has different types of white blood cells that he's going to call. The first group of white blood cells that he's going to call are called helper T cells. And these helper T cells are going to be turtles. As you can see, we have some turtles here. Now, turtles are usually associated with being slow. So, obviously, I have to make them talk like they're slow. Hi, we're the T cells. Now, these T cells are going to see the virus. I'm a virus. And these T cells, we're T cells, are white blood cells. Now, these T cells ascertain what type of virus this is. And they say, oh, we got to figure out a way to call in our buddies, the bugs. The bugs are another type of white blood cells who are going to show up next. Here they are. These are our bugs, a different type of white blood cells. And they sound like this. We're the bugs, because that's how a B cell would probably talk, because they're the bugs. Now, these B cells, they have a different job. Now, they see this virus, I'm a virus. And these B cells are now going to formulate a way to destroy this virus. This is how your immune system's working. And what they do is, some of you have special antibodies already inside your body. Some of you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, you're going to need some antibodies, which then you need to take in a medicine form. And here come those antibodies. Those antibodies are going to be cowboys. Now, at no time do I recommend any violence, but these cowboys are going to now start to circle this. Oh, these cowboys are tangled up. They're going to start circling this virus, and some of them have little guns. Okay, they all do. They see this virus, and they're going to go, yeehaw, we are the white blood cell antibodies, or the antibodies from the white blood cells, and they're going to attack this guy. And they're going to go choo-choo-choo-choo, and the antibodies, phone's ringing, are going to end up killing or eliminating this virus. This virus hopefully will go away in 7 to 10 days, we know this. And what happens is the following: antibodies. You keep these. They end up going in your system. These B cells, with the B cells, they're going to disappear as well. Then we have the T cells. Where are the T cells? They disappear in your body because they're part of your immune system. And Captain America also would take a hike. Bye-bye. Now, let's change the story. The story now is going to be about a monkey. Because somewhere in the world, and this is where HIV got its origination, we're not really sure exactly, but there is some type of talk, just like we had coronavirus in bats. Well, there's monkeys. And whether somehow monkey blood intermixed with a human, or somebody was eating a monkey, we don't really know. It's weird, either way. It seems to be that monkeys seem to be the problem with this. So, we're going to change the story a little. Here is our monkey. This is going to be HIV. It gets introduced into your system, one of those 4 ways we had talked about earlier, and the monkey is now in your system. Who's the first person we're going to call? Not Ghostbusters. Nice try. But it is Captain America. I can't press the button.
Avengers, assemble.
Because he's calling the Avengers to assemble. But he is Captain America, and he has some white blood friends, blood cell friends he's going to call. Who is he calling? The T cells. Hi, we're the T cells. Here's where the story changes. The T cells usually call the B cells. The B cells call the antibodies. But if somebody has HIV, now what's going to happen is the HIV attacks the human T cells inside your body. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but your body has thousands upon thousands of T cells. And what this HIV does is it goes and, I took silly putty, it ends up attacking and over time actually killing the T cells in your body. And these T cells end up becoming infected HIV cells. I had just said you have thousands upon thousands of these in your body. If at any point an individual who has HIV doesn't get it taken care of and their T cell count drops to 200 or below, that is where HIV becomes AIDS. Once a person does develop AIDS, that is where usually they're kind of looking at a much shorter lifespan. Usually within 2 years, it could be even shorter, could be a tad longer. But today we have tons of medicines. Those medicines, A, are able to keep giving these individuals with HIV more white blood cells. They have medicines that can actually remove the HIV negative cells. Okay, so today we have ways where we can combat that to a point where a person can live many, many, many years with HIV. Not something that we want to get. Coming back around. So, here's where we are now. I hope that worked out. I don't even know if you were on screen. I really hope you were. I gave you a sheet that looked like this. You might have gotten the same thing twice. That's just because I was too lazy to take it apart. I'm going to go over this story right now. I'm not giving you the answers except for right now here on this reading. So my suggestion again, if you didn't print this out, go print this out. Okay? And here's the story. As I read to you, I'm going to be giving you the answers. Fill it in, and this might also help you. But I'm going to pause because the words that you need are at the top. Virus, antibodies, immune, B, killer, T, white, memory, slowly. It actually might say 10 on your sheet. If it doesn't say 10, it might be 40. I don't know. Some sheets have different ones. Sometimes I forget to update it. It should say 40 like the one you see. And then HIV. So I'm going to pause for a second. If you know the answer, say it, but fill it in on your sheet. So the immune system protects the body from infectious agents like viruses, protozoa, bacteria, and fungi. The small white blood cells are the agents in the immune system that recognize the infectious agents. White blood cells produce antibodies that attack the harmful infectious agents. In case you weren't sure, the answers can be used more than once. The white blood cells are known as T cells and B cells. The T cells may be helper or killer T cells. The helper T cells and the B cells produce antibodies that fight the antigens. The immune system is capable of producing many different kinds of antibodies to fight infections. Typically, the T cells and B cells are able to destroy the virus. You know this, you get sick, and it takes about 7 to 14 days to get out. The B cells and T cells develop a memory to fight future invasions of the body by that specific infection. That's why we don't get sick all the time. I don't get sick because I've been breathing in your little germs for years. Okay? The immune system does not recognize the HIV virus. The immune system fails to produce the necessary antibodies to combat the HIV infection. The HIV virus grows slowly. An infected individual may live for 10 to 40 years with the HIV virus. Okay? That sheet should be filled in. You should have all the information that you need for Google test number 8, or can you believe it, 16 total, because we've been together for 2 years now. So please get done Google test number 8. It's sent out to you in the link. The rest of the answers that you need were in today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I really hope it worked because I'm going to have to now go back and watch. But hey, 23 minutes, that's a long time. So I'm going to say goodbye right around the 24 mark. So 5, 4, 3, 2, goodbye.